displaying the glory of God's creation by exploring America one park at a time. Welcome to Parking Full Time with Big Dave, the parks professor. First hole. The distance and par are at the top of the screen. This is actually the most open hole on this course. That's the park entrance road you can see off to the right. There are a couple of trees right in front of the basket, and so you have to hit the right gap here to get around this tree. But if you do that, then you're set up for a really nice birdie opportunity on the opening hole. There's the basket, and there's the view back down the fairway from behind the basket. Now we head into the woods for the second hole, which is one of the tightest holes on this course. It plays moderately uphill, with the basket up here towards the top of the hill. I'm giving you two distances because there are two tees on most of these holes. There's a back tee and a forward tee. In all of these video clips, we are starting at the back tee, and we haven't seen any holes where there are multiple baskets yet, but for the holes that have multiple baskets, which we'll get to in a few minutes here, we're walking to the longest basket. The third hole plays across a narrow but steep ravine. It also has a strong cross slope from right to left. We're coming up on one really steep area here momentarily that we'll jump down to the bottom of. The obvious line of play is the direct line of play, but you could also go with a tighter alternate line of play to the right, which might more effectively use this cross slope. But again, it's tight, so you have to decide how much risk you want to take. I do want to belatedly welcome you to Parking Full Time. I am Big Dave, the parks professor. This is the Norris Disc Golf Course. We are in Norris, Tennessee, on the north side of Knoxville. Now we head down into the bottom of the ravine where we're going to stay for a few holes. The fourth hole is fairly flat. It's heavily wooded and fairly tight, almost as tight as the second hole that we saw earlier. These next few holes run kind of back and forth like spaghetti. This hole plays north, next hole plays south, then number 6 plays north, and number 7 plays back south. There's the basket and the view back to the tee on number 4. The fifth hole plays back the opposite direction as number 4. It's a little bit longer, but it also has a slightly wider fairway. So overall, these holes I think are really nice and really fair tests. It's still very heavily wooded, and it's also pretty flat. I captured this video on Thursday, October the 12th, and it was a warm, sunny day in the mid-70s when I came here. This course is also pretty well maintained. You don't see a lot of underbrush and that sort of thing around here, so it's not too easy to lose a disc. Here's the fifth basket. I really like these baskets. They look like brand new disc catcher baskets when I came here. The sixth hole heads back northbound again, but really it's very similar to the previous holes. It's about the same length. It's heavily wooded, very tight, and pretty flat. None of these holes here are bad holes, but this course does get a little bit repetitive here in the middle. They're just very similar holes, one after another after another. This is a nice wooded area. Norris, Tennessee is a planned community. It was planned by the Tennessee Valley Authority back in the 1930s. And you can see that when you're driving around. It doesn't look like a neighborhood, a residential development that you would see today. It is a really nice place to live and a really nice place to come and visit. Now we're to the seventh hole, and this is the first hole that has two separate baskets. There's an A basket and a B basket. The A basket is the one you see off to the right here, and to the A basket, that's a pretty short hole and pretty open hole and pretty easy hole. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to walk to the B basket, which is longer and a decent bit tighter, and you see it coming up here. So you can choose what level of difficulty you want. If you want this to be an easy hole, you can play to the A basket. If you want more challenge, you can play to the B basket. I like the two baskets here, although this is another pretty flat, pretty heavily wooded hole similar to the previous holes. The 8th hole breaks the spaghetti pattern and heads east. That's the hillside that we came down here that you see off to the right there. This hole also has 2 baskets. The A basket is just off the camera frame to the left. But again, we're not going to walk to the A basket. We're going to walk to the longer B basket, which is coming up here. This hole, once again, is actually very similar to the previous few holes. It's pretty flat, very heavily wooded, and so this course does get really somewhat repetitive here. 9th hole and last hole on this course, and now we finally break the repetition here. This hole is a little bit wider, and it plays steeply uphill to get to the basket. Again, there are 2 baskets. There's the A basket, which really does nothing on this hole except shorten it and make it easier. And so we are going to walk to the B basket, which is just outside the edge of the woods. Since this is the last hole, I do want to thank you for watching. Parking full-time would not be anything without the people who watch. I realize that every day, and I thank you every day. This is a nice 9-hole course. It gets a little repetitive in the center, but it's still a nice course. It's only a few minutes off of I-75 just north of Knoxville. So if you're driving through that area, it's nice to stop here and get a little leg stretch and play a little disc golf. That's the end of the course. Have a great afternoon, take care, and Lord bless.